This is happening.
Let me just do what I love to.
No 9 to 5.
Eat that frog. You gotta work hard.
Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. This is Lifestyle Architecture Lab, and I'm your host Himanshu Sachdeva. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Lifestyle Architecture Lab. In this show, I talk about lifestyle design, financial freedom, and also dissect the process, behavior, and routines of the personalities who have designed a lifestyle of freedom for themselves. These guests range from artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, lifestyle coaches, investors, professional athletes, etc. These conversations dig deep into their stories to find out their thought process, tools, strategies, and tricks that makes them tick. This podcast is brought to you by Audible. I love audiobooks and I've been using Audible for years. Whenever I'm commuting to work and back, almost always I'm listening to a book. Because I don't get time to read as much as I would like to, so audiobooks help me read books in a whole new way. If you want to try it out, you can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Himanshu Sachdeva. You'll get thousands and thousands of books to choose from, which you can listen on your phone, laptop, or even on your Kindle device, anytime, anywhere. In this episode, I'm talking to Venkatraman Pichumani, who is the founder of the Zippers Club, which is a very unique club where he coaches people who have had cardiac conditions. He trains them to run long-distance races and even marathons. He's also the founder of YouTookCanRun, a company through which he provides a 360-degree platform to organize sports events, starting from the registration process till the event wrap-up. YouTookCanRun is leading the charts in the end-to-end user experience it provides. Venkat himself is a long-distance runner despite having a cardiac surgery years back. In this conversation, we talk about his life journey, things and experience from the 80s and 90s, how he surrendered his CA title after achieving financial freedom and started various ventures, and found success in many of his entrepreneurial acts. All of this and much more in this episode. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Venkatraman Pichumani. Hey Venkat, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Himanshu, for having me over. My pleasure, really.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, in fact, to have you here. A life full of experiences and achievements. That's what I would call your life. Because as a old school serial entrepreneur and a Freemason, a half marathoner, and a ham radio operator, and an author, a professor, a vegan. I don't know how many titles I should mention here. There are so many. You are 62 years old and you have so much of experience with life. So it's going to be a very good lesson for the audience who are listening to this. So you have run almost more than 150 half marathons, right?
That's right.
And that too after having a cardiac condition.
Yeah, I lived a full life.
True. So there are a lot of topics I want to touch. But can you please start off with the coaching you do for the people who have the heart condition, and you make them run half marathons and let them live the full life like you are living. Right. So can you start off from there?
Okay. So if that's what we want to start off with, we'll start off with that.
Yeah.
What happened was that I had my cardiac bypass surgery 2007.
Wow.
3rd February 2007 to be very precise.
Wow. Yeah, of course you don't forget that day.
No, not because it's my password.
That's a good one.
But because it's a very emotionally intense movement, to have your heart cut out and opened and all that.
Right.
So people ask me, and I tell them that it's a bit like, child delivery for a woman. Because a woman can never forget
that
the
moment.
delivery at that moment
Yeah.
of the day, because it's very emotionally, engaging.
Yeah.
But there's a key difference between the two, as I like to say about it, that after 1 or 2 years, the woman will say, let's have one more child. But no man is going to say, let me have one more bypass.
Yeah, true. That's so true.
Yeah, anyway, so it started there, and I was running before that.
Yeah.
And after that, I decided to run. I was training properly. I was running. I'd run half marathons before that. And fortunately, that is how I came to know that I'm having a heart problem. And therefore, I did not have a heart attack. I didn't have a cardiac arrest. I was an elective patient, which means that I diagnosed the symptoms. I knew something.
Like beforehand, you got to know
the warning
about it.
signals came.
Wow.
Yeah, the canary flew out of the mine.
For the layman who might be having such conditions, so are there any pointers which they can find out?
Definitely. See, what happens is that the block keeps forming over a period of time.
Yes.
And slowly, the blood vessel starts getting constricted.
Yes.
Narrow. So, if you don't exercise at all, and if you're a very sedentary person, then there is no way of knowing that this blockage is happening.
Oh.
But if you exercise, if you run or anything, I'm saying running, but I will say running for exercise.
Any kind of athletic activity.
Any kind of exercise that gets your heart rate, up. It could be Zumba, it could be swimming, it could be cycling, it could be badminton, it could be dancing, it could be badminton, it could be table tennis, anything,
Yeah.
So anything like that. Not brisk walking, okay? So I'll come to that.
Yeah.
So then your heart makes that demand. When the demand is there and it cannot be supplied, it's like a pipe that has got squeezed.
Right, blocked.
Blocked, correct? This. Then your heart gives you the symptoms.
Oh, wow.
So the symptoms come before the damage occurs.
Yeah, your body has the capability to send the
so
signals.
the symptoms come to you and you know that there is something wrong. You go
Your
and test
performance is down and you feel tired.
You feel
maybe.
breathless. You'll feel what is known as angina, which is
Angina.
basically a set of conditions that tell you that your heart is not receiving enough blood. Okay, so it can manifest itself in many ways. It can feel constricted, you can feel breathless, you can feel shooting pain, and everybody has a different way in which it gets done. But this is a general range of symptoms. So when that happens, and you know that there is something wrong and this is highly unusual, you can go check yourself up and fix things before they become a catastrophe.
Right.
So, you don't arrive at the hospital in an ambulance on the rear door in OPD, but you come to the main door, your driver drops you off.
The ambulance situation is not something you want.
You want, because that is like when you're not ready for it. Correct?
Yeah.
It happens, at any given
You are
point
caught
in time.
red-handed.
So I walked into the hospital on that day and I went to the counter. I had already done all my bookings and they said form bharo, and I filled up the form, and then that person said, patient kidhar hai? And I said, I am the patient, damn it.
They don't expect as well.
They don't expect somebody to come walking in for a bypass surgery.
Wow.
So anyway, so it was a very controlled thing that happened in my life,
I mean,
like it should.
you have consciousness. That's why you were able to do that. Yeah.
Exactly. So what happened is that after I got my operation done, within about I started running after about 3-4 months. After, proper rehab, proper training, proper, recovery.
So your doctor advised you
that? My doctor fortunately was Dr. Ashish Contractor.
Oh, wow.
Who was the head of cardiac rehab in Asianart at that point of time.
Yeah.
And was also the medical director of the then known as Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon.
Oh,
so I was very
wow.
lucky, range of circumstances.
Having that kind of
how
doctor.
the world kind of confluences and connects the dots and converges.
Universe comes together too.
Comes together. Very lucky. And I started, training properly, and he knew that I used a heart rate monitor and did things well.
Yeah.
So I trained, I did a trek. Within about 6 months, I did a run after about 10 months, and within 11 months I was again running the half marathon.
Wow.
So when I did this, a lot of other people who were heart patients wanted to come and run.
So how did they get to know about it?
Because they were also patients in Asianart cardiac rehab. Oh, that time the media went crazy over me. All the paper front page I was there.
Wow.
With a photograph. Man runs in spite of bypass, etc.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And everybody heard about it, and a lot of people said, oh, if we can run, we also want to run.
Yeah.
So then Dr. Ashish Contractor said that, listen Venkat, this is what you started. Now you better run with this, because you should start training them, because we don't want them going and doing something stupid.
Yeah.
And that is how I became a trainer for heart patients who want to run half marathons.
And the Zipper Club
yeah.
formed.
We call ourselves the Zipper Club. And people ask why, and there are two reasons why. The first is, when you have a bypass surgery, it looks like you've got a zip. The scar that is left behind looks like a zip on
looks
the
like a zip.
It looks like a zip because all the stitches are going around.
True.
So it's a zip, kind of zipper club.
Wow.
But the word zip also has another meaning. You're zipping through life.
Zipping through life. Even after that condition.
Even after the condition.
Wow.
So that's why it's called the Zipper Club.
Very much symbolic.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
Awesome. So, you started up with coaching, and then eventually you got into the sports management business. So from there, how did YouTookCanRun, your company, which you are running right now, started?
So, when I started coaching people and people who had, bypass surgery, people who are like 65, 70, my oldest, this is 75. And I decided one thing, that I will not take any money for coaching, because it is more like a social cause. It's giving back to running.
Yeah.
Because running saved my life. If I had not been a runner, I would not have got the symptoms. Yeah, I wouldn't even know. One day I would have suddenly got a heart attack. And then I would never know where it would have left me,
Wow.
Probably today I would be a photo in a frame with agarbattis. So I decided not to make money out of what saved me.
That's great.
So then when I sold my BPO, which had about 10, offices around the country, about 3,000 employees.
Wow.
I decided that I will now do something that is again socially relevant. So I was, in the kind of sannyas ashram phase of my life where I wanted to do.
Earlier we discussed and you mentioned there are stages of life. Yeah.
So first is the balastha, which is a child.
Yeah.
Then the brahmachari, which is the
teenager
studying.
Yeah.
When you're studying. First is the child when you're living with the parents. Then the teenager when you go into the gurukul.
Yeah.
Brahmachari. And then you're the grahastha when you get married and set up your own life.
Yeah.
And then you're the sannyas ashram, which is the
when you are done with
everything and you want to give back to society and get into a spiritual kind of thing.
Wow. So
and
you are in that phase.
Actually what happens, this is also very scientific.
Yeah.
People like to think of this as, right wing,
spiritual,
liberal and all that.
Yeah.
But it's spiritual because the hormones that your body releases are different.
Yeah, there are biological changes as well to the body.
Exactly. And that is what makes you think in those respective ways, in those respective stages of your life.
Wow.
Yeah. So kind of thing. So I thought that I will do something. And that is how YouTookCanRun started. And, people ask me, why did you name it YouTookCanRun? People used to ask me, a lot of people are there who don't want to run, can't run, or heart patients used to come to me regularly. Even today, at least once a week, I get a call from somewhere in the world, from an heart patient who wants to run. And, I used to keep telling people that, listen, if I can run,
you too can run. That's how the name came.
So everybody said, whatever we ask you, you say you too can run.
Wow.
That became like my title, Takya Kalam is a Hindi word.
Wow.
Yeah, and
so
that is how
the name came.
So when the company was to be started, then I decided, I will call it YouTookCanRun.
Yeah. So, moving from there, dialing back a little to your childhood and your early days, like before you started with your ventures and the entrepreneurships. So, how did your childhood experiences and your teenage and your college experience, and then starting out with the struggles which you faced at that time, how did all those experiences converged and they made the man which you are today?
See, there is always a certain path that life has kind of ordained for you, in a way. So, for example, my father was an accountant. He was working in Air India. I became a BCom, then I became a CA. And I could have joined Air India.
So, your father worked in Air India, right?
For about 39 years.
And he wanted you to be there as well.
He wanted me to join because he couldn't, he thought that was the best thing to me.
Wow.
So, for me, people say, chamar ka ladka chamar, or, kind of thing. Like
sort of.
So, I thought that, why don't I strike a more, strident path that is divergent from what life offers to me.
Wow.
So, I knew one thing, that I didn't want to be an employee. I didn't want to be an employee because if you're an employee, you are, working very diligently for somebody else.
Right. And very much restricted with the thought process.
Very much restricted, very much this, kind of thing. So I decided that I will always be an entrepreneur myself. My very first act of entrepreneurship was taking orders for Diwali crackers.
Oh, wow.
from residents of the colony. So I went about family, friends. So for 2-3 years I did this.
Okay.
I mean, very, very teenage,
Teenager,
teenage years,
yeah.
school years actually.
So
Yeah.
entrepreneurship started very, very
I
far
tied
back.
up with a friend of mine who was doing this wholesale. Got rates from him, went to the colony residents and took orders at a markup of obviously,
Oh, wow.
and made some small amount of money in each of those Diwalis, enough to spend it on the Diwali itself.
Wow, that's
and have a better Diwali.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that was somehow this in my life. Today many people ask, is entrepreneurship? There are people who teach entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
There are a lot of entrepreneurship colleges and institutes.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think, this guy just cannot be an entrepreneur. I mean, everybody cannot be an athlete.
Because sometimes they are just teaching it and not doing it, right?
Everybody has the, the unsubstantiated desire to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But nobody has what it takes in them in terms of
hard
the cultural,
work.
psychological scripting.
Yeah.
That it takes to be an entrepreneur. And that is what, you need to be sacrificing. You need to do hard work. There's nothing like weekends. Vacations are sometimes given a miss. Your family has to sacrifice. So many things are there.
Yeah.
Even being an entrepreneur. Not everybody can do that. We put job ads in Facebook and we get people who, write back saying that I like to travel. I like to eat good food. I like to take pictures, and I say that's called a vacation and you need to work to do that. That cannot be a job.
True, that cannot be a job.
For a few it can be, like the Instagram influencers of today,
Yeah,
but not for everybody.
Right. Nowadays, I mean, people can do a nomadic job where they are traveling all the time and still earn money, but back then probably it was not possible.
That is also true till a certain age.
Yeah.
Till the brahmachari stage of your life. The minute you become a grahastha, you need to have a fixed income. You have a wife to support your kids, you have EMIs, you have a house, you have school fees. And then you realize that, you can't live on intermittent income.
Right. You have to have a consistent income.
You need to have stability of your income. You need to have a predictable, source.
Right.
So people then change. I mean, they have to change. And then the hormones also change.
Yeah.
And you automatically become into a grahastha stage of life.
Wow. Okay, so like from the childhood, you had those experiences with entrepreneurship and eventually you did your CA, right?
Correct.
And so post doing CA, what did you start with? As you mentioned, you sold off your BPO as well. So did you right away started with...
No. I qualified in May 1983 as a chartered accountant.
Wow.
And after that, I was in practice till June 1994, about 11 years. Right. I held my certificate of practice. I did all the typical things that a CA in practice does, file income tax returns, write books of accounts. At that time, there was some sales tax practice, audit companies, etc. And but a large part of my practice involved getting funding or getting finance for entrepreneurs.
Oh,
and
wow.
so therefore I used to make what is known as project reports at that point of time and go to IDBI, IFCI, ICICI, which are the national financial institutions, and do what is known as consortium term lending. So I used to help my clients raise money from
money.
Yeah.
So you had a good amount of experience there.
I had a good amount of experience, and a part of that raising money used to be always public issues.
Oh, wow.
So I became quite adept at how to make public issues. And a lot of my practice then became managing public issues and raising money for my clients. My partner then started taking care of my audit and my income tax practice.
Yeah, so just to cut you here, for the audience who might not be from the finance background, can you just give 2 lines what a public issue is?
A public issue is today called an IPO.
Wow, so simply.
Simply, but we still use the old terms,
Yeah.
And it's called investment banking. We used to call it merchant banking at that point of time. Most of the terminology was British in origin.
Yeah.
Because we still have the British legacy.
Right.
Then the Americans came in with their PE and VC funding language.
Yeah.
And then the language of the financial market.
Jargon changed.
Jargon changed. They came more from Silicon Valley. Rather than,
from London and
from
British.
London, Bond Street or wherever in London.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So IPOs,
So
that's what
basically that's IPO, initial public offering.
Correct.
Wow. So, like from CA, you were doing public issues, and then what was the moment when you decided, no, this path is not for me, and I want to do something else?
Oh, I didn't decide. A guy called Harshad Mehta came and decided it for me.
Everything went down the gutter.
Yeah, and then C.R. Bansali. I don't know how many folks, listening to this will remember. I'm sure that if I share it, a lot of my old colleagues will recall all this.
Yeah.
So they came and they tanked the public issue, the IPO market. Yeah. And there were no more IPOs to be made in 96 because there were no more investors looking for IPOs.
Yeah.
So that is when in 96, 97, the internet came up.
Yeah.
And I was always tech savvy. Mm-hmm. By then I was a ham radio operator.
Wow. What is a ham radio operator?
Okay. So a ham radio operator is somebody who owns and operates a transceiver, which is a transmitter and a receiver, and connects it through an antenna which typically goes up on the terrace and talks to people all over the world.
So basically a mobile phone of today's date.
A mobile phone is something that has come out of a lot of the ham radio technology.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of the ham radio technology has slowly morphed into,
what became the cell phone.
What became the cell phone and pager and so many versions of that. So in 81, I studied 3 programming languages, Basic, COBOL and Fortran.
Wow.
And I became a member of the Computer Society of India at that point of time.
Wow.
So I have been tech savvy, even though I was a chartered accountant.
Mm-hmm.
I had my strong leanings towards, physics and electronics and stuff like that. In about 87 or 88, I became a ham radio operator.
So you have to do a certificate for that?
Yes, of course. You have to study, you have to pass exams.
Wow.
And then there's a police verification, and then, you become a ham radio operator.
Mm-hmm.
And I own and operate, I have a call sign, which is what it is called. Like, aircrafts have call signs and ships have
so
call
you
signs.
still can do that? I mean, do we have the devices here?
Yes, of course. It's a very thriving hobby. It's a very niche, esoteric hobby, but it's a very thriving hobby.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've been very fortunate that I've been able to put that hobby into service in terms of man-made disasters.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mumbai floods, Latur earthquake, Gujarat hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
We have been able to set up ham radio stations, operate that.
Wow.
And because you must remember that today we take all these communications for granted.
Yeah.
The internet, the mobile phone, the 4G, the Geo, the fiber, everything, we take it for granted.
Yeah. It's like always there.
But it's all man-made.
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow, if a tower collapses because of winds or earthquake or floods,
or maybe an ocean cable disconnects,
then the entire country will go into this. Yeah, there are about 8 cables that come into India.
Wow.
But so anything can happen. Telephone cables can run, DG sets can run out of petrol, batteries can run out of power. So all this is man-made. We are sitting on a man-made infrastructure. A natural disaster can just uproot everything, and then you suddenly can't communicate to anybody. And in a disaster, the communication needs actually peak.
Okay.
Because the agencies that are providing relief need to know where to send what.
Yeah.
Should I send medicines? Should I send ambulances? Or should I just send blankets?
Yeah, it's
or
very
should I just
crucial.
Send biscuits?
Yeah.
Okay. How serious is the issue there? How many people have died? How many people are injured? How many hospital beds do I need to keep ready? So these are all known as disaster relief communication that need to come. Then there is all the social aspect of communication.
Yeah.
Is my mother well? Is my sister good? Where has my brother gone? Those kind of communication. So it peaks.
Right. So you can set up the ham radio at that time.
We can just go set it up and restore communications.
Wow.
So we are like we are like
the
people,
firefighters.
Firefighter is a very small term.
Yeah.
We are like the
It's
people who can go and establish. So for example, during the Latur earthquake, when it happened in Killari, I was in the Sachivalaya next to the chief secretary. So we set up an antenna on top of Mandalia. And we occupied the conference room of the chief secretary and put up a station there.
Wow.
The cops gave us support to go to Killari. There was traffic, but the police cleared everything. We reached Killari, which was the hotspot of the thing. There was no power. Obviously, there was no power because the transmission lines had gone down, So the police called one truck driver who was standing on the way, yanked his battery out. Brought that battery to us from the truck.
Wow.
And we connected our jumper cables and we went on air.
Yeah.
Put up the antenna between a, petrol pump sign that was still standing and a tree that was still standing.
Yeah.
Put up the antenna and from the jeep of that police van, we went on the air.
Yeah.
And that was the first sound that came out of Killari.
Wow.
After about 24 hours
Wow.
after the earthquake. And that is when the chief secretary came to know how much is the damage.
Hmm.
All the information that came because a ham was there in Killari giving us the information.
Wow, it's very crucial. I mean,
Extremely crucial,
still
even
present
today.
days.
Even today.
Yeah.
Even today.
Wow.
In Japan, in USA, and even to some extent in India, if ham radio is not there, disasters cannot be managed with the same level of efficiency as if ham radio operators were there.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
putting this out.
And this is a bunch of people who are very geeky, very techy.
So in Mumbai, like many more people are there apart from
Yes,
you?
we are about 200.
200
operators,
people.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have so many esoteric things to say, which people of today might not even know. Like, I didn't know about the ham radio. From there, we can go into many directions. As you mentioned, you achieved financial freedom before you went on with your next venture, which you did, like the BPO, which you started, right?
Exactly.
So, as you were working as a CA and then you were working for other people, so to say, at that time. And so how did you exactly achieve, first of all, financial freedom? Are there any pointers you would like to make here, like bullet points, which people can take and they can try to be financially independent as well?
So, financial freedom comes from having enough money to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Correct? So there are two aspects. There is a demand and there is a supply.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? You need to keep the demand contained all the time.
Yeah.
Correct? And you need to increase the supply.
Right.
Correct? The supply of money that you get.
Yeah.
You need to increase and then the demand has to be curtailed.
Mm-hmm.
There is enough money in this world for everybody's need.
Yeah.
But there is not enough money in this world for everybody's greed.
Right. That's so true.
Okay.
That should be a quote.
Yeah, it's a quote. It's a quote from somebody, I think Gandhiji.
Ah.
So I'm just quoting him. So I'm not sure if Gandhiji said, I think it is Gandhiji.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. So you need to first of all contain the consumerism that is there within you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be sure that this is the quality of life that I want to lead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep up with the Jonases.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need a Rolls Royce car.
Yeah.
Just because Mukesh Ambani has the money to build a 27-story house. I don't need to do that. Antilia. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, it is again another quote, it is said that the man who has got everything in life is still envious of the man who has got two of everything in life. मेरा एक ही घर है, उसके बाद लोनावाला में बंगलो है, and so on and so forth.
It always goes on.
Yeah.
You never stop.
You never stop. You can never stop. And this world is so capitalistic and materialistic that the entire environment encourages you to be a consumer. So first is you need to curtail the consumerism in you. Okay? You need to be happy with a simple pen. You need to be happy with a simple shirt. You need to understand that leading a moderate life is not something that, that is below you.
Yeah.
For example, I buy only second-hand cars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't buy brand new cars. The last 3 or 4 cars that I have owned have all been second-hand.
Yeah, exactly. They're liabilities.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not that I can't write a check and buy a Merc or whatever today.
True.
Okay, I can. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to.
Awesome. I mean, it's very good to hear the terminology, which I really like.
I don't have a luxury watch.
Wow.
Okay, I don't have a Patek Philippe or a Rolex or any of those. I can buy.
But you can certainly buy.
I can certainly buy. The most luxury watch was 20,000 rupees which I bought. Okay. And I bought it because for 1 year for one term when I was a professor in symbiosis.
Yeah.
At the end of the term, I got a check of about 19,000 and odd.
Wow.
And I said, I need to buy something that is like kind of memory, kind of this is that. So I said, for 20,000 rupees, I'll buy a luxury watch. And that is the watch I bought.
Which watch you bought?
It's a Tissot which I'm incidentally wearing today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. I don't change mobile phones every 6 months. My mobile phones last till the end of their life.
Right.
And I don't care. My sons have Apple, Mac Pro or whatever book.
Yeah.
But I have a very simple Dell computer.
Yeah.
They have rich parents. I don't.
So true.
So anyway, so coming back, the demand side has to be curtailed.
Yeah.
The other side is the supply side, which you need to increase. Okay. So you need to be able to do diligent work, honestly, ethically. if you are ethical and if you are honest about it, I remember a partner of mine under whom I did my articleship for CA, under whom I did my training for CA. He said, Venkat, till the day I die, I will have clients in front of me.
Wow.
Why? Because I know my job,
Mm-hmm.
And I am diligent, I am honest, and I know I deliver.
Yeah.
Okay? There will always be people
Who are
sitting
coming
in
to
front
me.
of me,
Yeah.
telling me, please do this work, please do this work.
Mm-hmm.
साहब आप मेरा काम करा लो, kind of thing. जो पैसा मांगते हैं बोलो,
Right.
kind of thing. So that will come only when you may have auto skills. You may be a photographer, you may be a painter, you may be a carpenter, you may be a mechanic, you may be an Instagram influencer, whatever you may be.
But you need to go the extra mile for the clients
Exactly,
so that
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You need to be there. You need to be diligent. People have to know that if you have given a job to you, you have taken their responsibility.
True. So true.
Yeah, as long as you have that trait in you, the supply will increase. Supply of money into your life will
You have
increase.
to increase the supply.
And demand has to be constant.
Yeah.
That is a simple formula for being financially independent.
Yeah, I mean, I see so many people struggling with this because as soon as their supply of income increases, their demand increases
they
like
notch up their
two-folds.
hand. Correct. Exactly. So, whatever is the amount of money you have, you will always have a need to do more than what your money is.
Yeah.
Even before the bonus has come, they have already mentally spent the bonus.
It's already gone.
Mentally spent the bonus. वो खाली cash flow adjustment है.
Yeah.
दिवाली time में. Already नक्की कर लिया है कि क्या करने का.
Maybe even bought it on a credit card.
Maybe even bought it on a credit card. Bonus तो आ ही जाएगा मेरे को.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So that is
That
living
has to be curtailed.
It's a fool's paradise.
Yeah. And moving from the financial freedom discussion, so you are also a Freemason.
Yes, of course I am.
So for the ordinary folks, can you describe what a Freemason is and what Freemasonry stands for?
Okay, so Freemasons is the world's oldest fraternal organization. So like a Rotary Club, Lion Club, it's a fraternal organization.
Right.
The history is deep. It's a 300-year-old organization where there is, for 300 years, there's a continuous recorded history.
Wow.
Who are the members? Where are the minutes? Where did the lodges meet, etc. In India, it is about 250 years old.
200. Okay, it's
old.
already
It's
so
about
much
200,
old in India as well.
Okay. Many people know Freemasonry nowadays because of the Dan Brown novels.
Yeah.
Angels and Demons.
Yeah, you mentioned.
Inferno and stuff.
Yeah.
And they refer to it as either the Illuminati, which doesn't exist, or as a secret society, secret handshakes. They think there's something very secretive about it. That is how people generally know it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm drawing those, popular
Beliefs.
references.
Yeah.
But Freemasonry is a society of gentlemen, which believes in making good men better.
Good men better.
Yeah, so we take people who have got good values in them and we make them better.
Wow.
So if you don't have the good values, you cannot become a good person.
Right.
Correct? We cannot make you better. So this is one. So let me give you some parallels in other things. What does the IIT coaching class does? It takes a good boy.
Good boy and
makes him an
turns
IIT,
into
student.
Genius. Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So that boy has to have that potential in him.
Yeah. So
Correct? What does an athlete do? A coach. What does he do? He takes a young boy who's got good athletic promise.
Right.
And coaches him into somebody, a good athlete, maybe a medal winner
with
or
the
national
training.
winner. With the training.
Olympian
correct?
maybe.
So this is what everybody does.
Yeah.
All this. What does an organization do? Any organization, MNC.
They interview people.
Correct. And then filter them.
Filter them
and
out.
after filtering them, if they see the potential, they bring them in, they put them through a training program, make them into a manager.
Yeah.
Then make them into a country head and whatever. Is the thing. So the same thing happens with Freemasonry. We take good men and we make them better.
Wow.
Okay. So what is better? I mean, what is the goal? What does it aim to do? Better bole to kya? Correct? Better means the practice of every social and moral virtue. We believe that everybody must become a better person and must practice every social and moral virtue. Okay? So Freemasons will be the people who will open the door, park their car correctly.
Right. Chivalry.
Chivalry. Chivalry is something that you will show to the fairer sex.
Yeah.
Chivalry. Be courteous.
Yeah.
Observe table manners. In a meeting, don't be, don't act like a ruffian.
Yeah.
So these are the social and moral virtues.
Yeah.
Don't cheat people out of money. Those kind of things is what they will do.
Gentleman things.
Absolutely gentlemanly things that are there. So that is the thing. What is the ultimate moksha for a Freemason? If you have to ask me that, what is the ultimate moksha? What does he hope to achieve ultimately?
What is the goal?
What is the goal? The goal is to live respected and die regretted.
Live respected and die regretted. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Okay, it's English.
Yeah.
But it's people think
like
it's
symbolically,
Shashi,
what does it mean?
People say it's Shashi Tharoor English. Okay, because he's become this for good English.
Yeah.
Live respected means when you live, people should respect you. People must say, "Arey yaar, Venkat, nahi, aisa nahi hai."
Yeah.
You should have respect. Correct? You should live respected.
Yeah.
Correct? And when you die, you should die regretted. Arey yaar, acha aadmi tha yaar.
You truly said. I was thinking there is a symbolism.
Correct. People should regret.
Yeah.
People should say that we have lost a good person. He had so many virtues. उसे कितना सीखने का था अपने को.
Right.
He was such a nice person.
Yeah.
So that is what is the ideal goal for every Freemason. That is the moksha.
Wow, that's amazing.
Live respected, die regretted.
And
that's what Freemason is about. And I'm happy to be a Freemason, proud to be a Freemason.
Wow. And you are like part of the Bombay community, right?
Bombay. I'm a number 2 in the District Grand Lodge of Bombay, which is basically the district that controls the western part of India.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'll put a little more links about it in the
I
show
can
notes
give you
as well.
those links,
Yeah. But is there really any secretive society stuff going on? I mean, do you want to elaborate?
Listen, it's a bit like this. If I went to a company, say I went to Godrej, and I said, "Can I see your board meeting minutes?" They'll tell me, "Get lost. Why do you need to see it?" Obviously, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. They'll say, "Get lost. Why do you need to see it?"
Yeah.
If I tell them, "How do you recruit? What is your interview procedure?"
They will not tell you.
Why will they tell you?
Yeah.
So is the Godrej a secretive society?
No.
Is it a secretive organization?
Yeah, it's not a secretive thing, but it's an internal thing rather.
Correct.
Right?
It's an internal thing. So, are we a secret organization in the sense that do we hide it from the public that we exist or we don't exist? No, we don't hide it. I'm here talking to you in a podcast about it. There are public links. If you make searches, you will get everywhere.
Yeah.
YouTube and the entire...
So there is a perception about it which is...
It is not a secret organization, but it is an organization with secrets.
With secrets. Yeah. Wow.
Like Godrej is not a secret organization.
Yeah.
But Godrej will have its own secrets.
Correct.
They will not tell you how they make that soap, for example.
Right.
They will not tell you the code to their software.
True.
Correct. Can I go to Infosys and say, "Give me the code to that software"?
That's proprietary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is given to people who need to know it.
True.
Through a process of interview and security and...
Like becoming a part of Freemasonry.
Correct. Exactly.
Wow, that's awesome. That elaborates this topic. Wow. And you are also a long time vegan. I mean, one of the very few first vegans, I would say, in India. So can you share a few details about your diet and like what easily is cooked at your house and what do you make every day like to make this sustainable living of a vegan?
So for those who don't know what a vegan is, vegan is a little bit different from being a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Typically, a vegetarian will avoid all animal meat and everything.
Yeah.
But a vegan will avoid anything that comes from an animal, including dairy milk.
Yeah.
So including milk, cheese, paneer, butter, and everything else. Avoid eggs definitely.
Avoid anything basically which is animal related.
And honey.
Because it's related to
comes
bees.
From bees. You kill the bees to get
in the process.
Honey. Yeah, and we are having a huge problem, flowering the plants. And even when you do afforestry, the afforestation drives are failing because there are not enough bees to cross-pollinate the trees.
Wow.
Because the bees are all dying because we are removing honey from them.
Yeah, so the ecosystem chain is breaking there. Yeah.
So a vegan is somebody who avoids all animal products.
Yeah.
These are food products. A vegan also avoids animal products in his day-to-day life. Shampoo, soap, belt, purse, car seat covers, anywhere where leather is used,
leather
for
is
example.
involved.
So you avoid. For example, my purse is a non-leather purse.
Fox leather, maybe.
Yeah, for leather.
Yeah.
It's a non-leather purse. My belt is a non-leather belt. The shoes that I wear are often non-leather, though I have some old leather shoes which I still continue to use.
Yeah.
Okay. So I avoid leather in other. But when I went for a car, I made sure that it didn't have leather upholstery. So the idea is just to make a statement that animals are as much an earthling as we are. We are
As
one more
humans.
species amongst the thousands and thousands of species that nature
Yeah.
has created.
Yeah, I think I recently read a book called Sapiens.
Correct.
And that talks about like how a human himself is also like a species.
One more
like
species.
Homo sapien, right?
Yeah.
So the other animals are also species.
Correct.
So they should all have respect for each other because animals
Exactly.
cannot do
Because
anything
because
about
the
it.
earth belongs to everybody.
Yeah, Earth is
The
for
earth doesn't
everyone.
belong to you as a human being. It belongs to all the earthlings.
Yeah, so while we do wear all the animal products, we do acts of cruelty, right?
Absolutely. Huge amount of cruelty.
Yeah.
Every day, billions of animal lives are being slaughtered so that we can have a chicken fry masala or a chicken butter masala or a rawaz fry or any one of those things.
So much cruelty and pain
Each of those
chicken
animals
has to go through
has to go through.
to reach to your
The
plate.
cow, the dairy is the biggest cruelty industry, more than the meat industry. And this is what vegetarians have to realize. Because you are keeping a cow impregnated artificially so that it can lactate. See, the cow is a mammal. We are the only mammal that drinks the milk of another mammal.
Yeah.
The elephant is a mammal.
They
The
don't
dog
need-
is a mammal. The cat is a mammal. Which
Yeah.
means that it gives breast milk to its eggs. Okay,
No,
that's that.
dog
The
doesn't-
dog doesn't go and eat cat's milk. Or the goat doesn't go and drink donkey's milk.
Yeah, true.
But we are the people who think we can drink cow's milk and camel's milk and yak milk and
Because we have
goat
the
milk.
force to do it.
Because we have been given greater powers by nature. And are we
Evolution.
using it responsibly?
No, I think
With
not.
to quote Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, and we have effed it up
Wow.
as a species.
True.
We have effed it up. We
So
just
true.
allowed this power to go to our heads,
Yeah.
and we are slaughtering all those lesser than us. It's like an elder brother who is stealing from his younger brothers and siblings.
Yeah.
So that he can enjoy his own life, and his younger siblings who are part of his family are crying every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because of compassion,
Yeah.
I became a vegan. Because of health, I became a vegan. Because of ecological reasons, I became a vegan. We screened a movie called Cowspiracy with Keenan, and the movie brings out very clearly that for every kilo of animal meat product, you need to spend 12 times more land resources,
So the carbon footprint is so huge.
much higher
Yeah.
of a meat product. People think, oh, it's a personal thing. You piss off, I am eating my meat. It's not a personal choice anymore.
Yeah.
The planet is dying
Planet
because
is
you
dying.
guys are, making so much of meat.
Yeah.
Because they are consuming 12 times more of the earth's resources. So it's my planet too.
Yeah.
It's my groundwater too. It's my trees too. It's my Amazon too.
Right. Yeah.
Correct? And you're dissing it so that you can have a steak rare.
Yeah.
So ecological reasons, compassionate reasons, health reasons.
Yeah.
We are having all kinds of diseases because of animal meat and animal products. People have stopped drinking milk, and within 15 days, within 1 month, they are gone off diabetes. They are gone
Wow.
off cholesterol.
So many lifestyle related diseases.
Absolutely. See, I'm 62 today. If you ask me what is my biggest achievement in life,
Yeah.
if you ask me what is my biggest achievement in life, it is not being ham radio or Freemason or any of those things. My biggest achievement in life is that at 62, I check my blood every quarter and I'm on zero medication.
Yeah.
I'm not on medication for diabetes.
Wow.
I'm not on medication for hypertension, which is BP. I'm not on medication for cholesterol.
Wow.
All these are under control. Only two things. Reduce the supply of food into my body by not having breakfast, for example, today.
Yeah. Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. So reduce the supply and increase the demand
Yeah.
by running 150 half marathons, for example.
That's so
It's
true.
always a demand and supply issue.
It comes a full circle.
Whether it's money or whether it's health.
Yeah.
If you supply too much and if you don't have demand,
It's all about demand and supply.
exactly.
So, as you have like so many rich experiences in life, do you have any favorite failures as well? Any failures which would have been a stepping stone for the successes which you later got?
One of my failures, if you want to call it that, has been my inability to be unethical.
Is that a failure?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at it, because in today's societal norms, being unethical is considered prudent. It is said that अरे यार उसे तो कुछ होएगा ही नहीं. He can't even bribe.
Right. So it's like so much like made into a right thing, like
Correct.
morally right thing now.
Correct.
To being
so
an unethical
today
person.
people don't even care if somebody is declared corrupt. Corruption charges are becoming huge, whatever is a political spectrum.
Yeah.
Correct. Unfortunately, one of that I consider as one of my failures. Okay. I would have been a very successful CA in practice. Successful
Yeah.
in inverted commas. Okay. in practice.
Quotes.
I would have signed any balance sheet left, right and center.
I mean, this is an ironical failure.
Ironical failure, correct? But somewhere I thought to myself that, I studied to be a CA. I mean, I took 5 attempts to be a CA. Okay. And it was not easy to pass it in the first attempt. It's not easy. Okay.
Yeah.
For me, whatever I've studied at that time is still etched in my memory.
Yeah.
I cannot forget. Even today, I can quote many aspects of what I studied in those years. Okay. So you have studied so much, and then it's the goddess Saraswati, correct?
Yeah.
We do Saraswati Puja and we do all
True.
these rituals. And there's a goddess Saraswati that is come to you in the form of education. And then because there is money, you're, prostituting Saraswati at the, altar of Lakshmi. That was something I couldn't tolerate. I found that just for the sake of earning a money, they are, diluting their standards.
Yeah.
So today, whether you take it PwC in ILFS or again PwC in Satyam or any one of the scandals that
Somewhere corruption has been there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So because of this virtue or failure, whatever way you want to call it, I have, gone on to doing things where I don't have to compromise the standards of what I'm supposed to deliver.
The values.
In effect, I have not been corrupt. Means corruption is not just about a public servant taking money and doing something illegal.
Yeah.
Corruption is about you willingly lowering your standards. Like today we are doing a podcast.
It's a choice.
It's like today we are doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You have come with a lot of equipment. You have come with a lot of this. You did made background notes to see that it gets done correctly.
Yeah.
You send me those notes. I read those notes.
Yeah.
Correct. I discussed some doubts about those notes.
Yeah.
But I don't have an answer for this question of yours.
Yeah.
Correct. You bought mics and you set up everything and you tested the sound and you shut off the AC. So, all this is non-corrupt behavior.
Yeah.
You don't want to corrupt this thing called podcast episode because you want to give your listeners a very good quality.
Yeah.
Which is a virtue that you have.
Yeah. Right.
Correct. So corruption is about that.
Yeah.
Corruption is about lowering a standard of quality. So I've never lowered my standard.
Wow. It's an ironical failure.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would say rather it is the success of your life as well.
I left my practice because of that.
Yeah.
When many people, there are many chartered accountants who, when I tell them I left my certificate, you gave up your certificate of practice. I mean, you slaved your butt for it and you, appeared 5 times and you became a final CA and everybody.
Then you surrendered it.
And then you gave it away.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow. Then you came into something which was more where you could keep your values, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Wow. That's awesome. And as we talk about values, so from the CA practice, you surrendered your title and then you started off with your own venture, right?
Correct.
Can you describe a little about that? How did your first company started, the BPO?
Oh, the first company was a very interesting thing. As you know, I was always interested in the internet and technology and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened is that the internet came up.
Yeah.
Around that time. So I went to VSNL and I filled up a form and I got an email address.
Wow.
You have to go to the Flora Fountain office of VSNL and you have to fill up. 15,000 rupees gave you a TCP IP account. 5,000 rupees gave you a student account in which you had a shell. So I didn't think I was financially independent.
At that time.
I could have written a check for 15,000, I could have written a check for 5,000. But frugality was a virtue.
Yeah, it was a virtue, like the value.
Value. So I opened a shell account for 5,000 rupees. And I said, let me see what happened. It was valid for 1 year. I got an email address that was Vitalink, VITALINK at GIASBM01.vsnl.net.in. So that was the first server. GIAS was General Internet Access Services.
Wow.
BM was Bombay. 01 was the first server.
Oh wow, that was the first server.
First email server that was open to the public.
Wow.
Where public could subscribe to an email ID. And there were 1,000 subscribers per server.
Oh wow.
Okay, so I was amongst the first 1,000 people in the country.
So it was early 2000s, right?
No, 96, 97.
Wow. Even before 2000s. Wow.
Correct. So that was the first this. So I opened an email ID. I learned HTML. We had a modem that was 64 kbps. But most of the time we used to get connection at 32 kbps.
Yeah, that sound. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, it's just in my memory. And I learned the Haze command set.
Haze command set.
Yeah, which was, the way in which you controlled the modem.
Yeah.
And with all this, armed with all this technology and, background, I put up a web page on a free hosting platform called Tripod. And they used to allow anybody to create an account and do home pages. And I put up an home page and I said, if you want to do data entry, please send your paper to India and we'll do data entry.
Wow. So
Outsourced Data Entry Incorporated. ODEI was the name of the company then, which was a branch of Vitalink Consultancy Services. So we chose that name because we wanted the keywords to come.
Yeah.
I knew quite a bit about SEO by then.
Yeah.
And we soon got a lot of work that was converting legacy content into digital content. So a lot of websites were coming up. So all the websites needed content.
Yeah.
And that content was in legacy format. It was in paper. It was in PDF, it was in scanned images, all those kind of things. Or maybe film, or maybe, audio recordings, or maybe even, software HTML, but even, text like Word document or whatever.
Yeah.
But that needed to be converted into a markup language.
Yeah, true.
So that is what came to us. And we became very big players in the content market. We didn't say we were doing data entry. We upskilled, we learned new languages.
Wow.
And we said, you dream your content, we'll deliver content for you.
So you were like delivering content at that time. So long
Correct.
back.
In 98, 99.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got taken over by a US company called Vistar. Founded by a friend of mine. And Vitalink became Vistar. And we all became part of Vistar. And till about 2001, 2002, when we found that the .com had busted and
boom has gone
and Vistar's business plans changed, and they what is to call pivoted. And when they pivoted, we didn't have a reason to be there. So I came out and restarted my BPO, which is even today running. It is there in Pune. I'm still the founder CEO till we complete some this. Employs about 150 to 200 headcount.
Wow.
In Pune, services, US clients that have been there from 2002, 2003.
Wow.
Because of the technology and because of the processes that we have put in place.
It's still going on. Amazing.
And we have got clients who have become family friends.
Yeah.
Even though I left that business in 2002, we are still on Facebook, LinkedIn, and we maintain relationships.
Wow. It's all about maintaining relations.
Exactly, because they know who I am. They know the kind of person that I am.
Trust is there.
Exactly.
It's all about trust. Wow.
I hope you're enjoying today's episode. Here is a quick word from the sponsors of this episode. For you, the listeners of Lifestyle Architecture Lab podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30 days trial. The free audiobook is yours to keep even after the trial ends. I have a few audiobooks to recommend. Number 1 is Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. This is one of those books which will take you back to the ancient times and teach you so much. I recently read it and it just blew my mind. Number 2 is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. This is one of the greatest bedtime books which I discovered. Neil Gaiman's voice just makes this book much more wonderful. This story and the narration is just amazing. You can download any of these 2 books or thousands more for free right now. Just go to audibletrial.com/Himanshu Sachdeva. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Himanshu Sachdeva for your free audiobook. Please enjoy.
So now coming to your personal side a little bit, can you describe how your typical day looks like these days?
My typical day nowadays, I tend to get up by about 4:35 on most days.
Wow, that's
Okay.
super early.
3 days a week, I train my Zippers Club members. We meet at 5:30. We either run or we do workouts or whatever I have in mind. And every day is a different day. My promise to them is that no one day in the year will be like another day. Means whatever we do exercises will always be different. There's always be freshness in the appeal of coming out. You don't know what you're going to get till Venkat comes up with something wacky. Yeah. So we do that. I come back. I used to have breakfast until 2 months back.
Yeah.
But right now it's something like nariyal pani or a vegetable juice.
Right.
So I've skipped breakfast. I don't know if I can call it intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
But I do drink tea. I do drink a vegetable juice.
So like
basically,
less solid foods.
zero solid food.
Zero
Maybe
solid
a fruit at the most.
Yeah. Wow.
But I don't want to reduce my nutritional intake.
Of course.
And then after that I get ready and my phone calls start. My WhatsApp is there. And by about 10:30, 11, I'm in the offices of YouTookCanRun and I run the business.
Yeah.
The full day is there. There are meetings, there are employee meetings, there are phone calls.
Then
there
traveling is there.
Traveling is there all the time.
Yeah.
When you have to go and meet clients, etc.
Yeah.
And then evening I typically go home by about 8:39. Nowadays I try to go home earlier because I want to downtime a little bit.
Yeah.
And I go home by this. And then it's dinner. Then I go to sleep. Typically, I bring lunch with me from home, but sometimes I also have the luxury of being able to walk home and have lunch and come back.
Wow. So what does downtime mean? So you have any particular activity like which leads you towards sleep?
I read books.
Read books.
I read whatever is the current book that is there on my bedside.
What is that book?
That current book is called Silk Roads.
Silk
A
Roads.
New History of the World.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'll look it up and put it in the show
correct,
notes.
Yeah. And that's the current book. It's a history of the world restated in a different way. And I am always a keen, student of history because everything just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
In a new avatar.
Yeah. So you go down, you sleep around 9:30, 10 probably?
About 10.
About 10.
Yeah.
So you have to get up early at 5.
I try to avoid digital stuff in my life. So I don't watch, we have no TV in the house. Very rarely I watch something on Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything like that. I mostly nowadays end up watching this digital content on flights because I just don't want to read in a flight and
right, in flights.
Yeah, in flights.
Yeah.
And otherwise,
less of the screens.
I am on phone all the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking to people. I try to stay away from social media, WhatsApp, because I believe in getting work done in the real world and not in the digital world.
Yeah. So, do you also have any mindfulness or meditational kind of practice?
I have done one Vipassana camp, 10 days, quiet, Igatpuri. I have found it to be extremely beneficial. And I personally believe that at least 15 minutes of meditation should be part of anyone's life. Everybody, anybody, whatever is the age, whatever is your background, should be done because we take care of our health, hopefully. We take care of our body in terms of food and everything, but we do not detox our mind.
Yeah.
And meditation is what can do. But unfortunately, I must say that I do not practice what I preach.
Yeah.
Okay. So because time is a very big constraint. I come back from my exercise and then if I sat down for meditation, it would take longer than that.
Yeah.
So therefore, I can't find the time to meditate, which should not be the excuse. Okay?
Yeah.
So I chastise myself as I say this. But let me also put it that way. People mix up the term mindfulness with meditation. They think only meditation can give you mindfulness. But mindfulness can come in every single aspect of your life.
Yeah.
I talked about the intensity with which you do your podcast, for example.
Yeah.
And I like to plan a running route, you know, and how much I care I take to see that every single runner gets a very good experience
Yeah.
in the events that we conduct. You know, that is also being mindful.
Events, I mean, just to put a point here, events that you organize, your company organize, I have also been a part of those events.
Thank
And
you.
I must tell that they are really well planned and organized, and a human connection is there when YouTookCanRun is planning an event.
Correct.
So I've seen and experienced it myself.
Because you know, in life, the energy flows through your work.
Yeah, true.
Energy flows to your work. People perceive that energy when they are part of the event. They know that somebody took an effort to do all this correctly.
Small
They may
details.
not know Venkatraman, they may not know YouTookCanRun,
Yeah.
they may not even know who did it, but they will feel different
Yeah.
at a subliminal level
Yeah.
when they are in that event.
That's what you should target for. I mean,
Exactly.
when you're doing
and
anything.
that will come only when you put that much energy into your planning process and into your execution process. If you don't do that, that event will be just one more event.
Yeah. Strive for excellence.
Exactly.
Wow.
So mindfulness can be in many ways.
Yeah. So mindfulness and meditation should not be misunderstood with each other.
It should not be used, synonymously.
Synonymously.
Correct.
Wow. Awesome. And are there any apps or gadgets? Yeah, you said earlier that you don't use screens much, but for your business purpose or maybe for some running purpose, do you use any specific apps which you would like to mention?
I use a lot of apps.
Anything
At
specifically
YouTookCanRun.
Yeah.
We are completely on Zoho.
Zoho system.
Yeah, Zoho systems. For example, we took a project. We use a Zoho project, which is basically we broke down a running event into the 130, 150 odd tasks that are there to do any running event.
Wow.
Okay, we broke it down. We took a project, and by the way, I teach project management for sports events. I'm a faculty member.
Wow.
I also teach quality control for running events.
Where can
Sporting
people
events.
learn from you?
Oh, I conducted as part of Ironwood's Sports Management, which is a sports management institute in Bombay, located in Villapalla. And every year, whenever the batches of students are there, I go and do these two lectures. Yeah.
Wow.
These two lectures. Yeah. Because I like to do that. And
Yeah, you earlier also mentioned you were a professor at Symbiosis Pune.
Correct.
Also, so how did that happen?
Oh, that happened because in Symbiosis, they wanted somebody who was very tech savvy to be able to teach a subject called Emerging Communication Technologies to the third semester MBA Marcom, which is Marketing Communications, MBA Marcom students. So they wanted MBA Marcom students to know how to use what was then the emerging communication technologies so that they can market their products.
Yeah.
Whatever they are in charge of well. So that is how that subject came. And that came because people saw that I had marketed Vitalink, the BPO, very well.
Yeah.
And I had got all my clients, and all my clients had come to me, and we had done this very well, and this was a nice business in Pune.
Yeah.
Employing about 250-300 people.
Yeah.
So Symbiosis got to know of it. Somebody talked to somebody. And they said, this guy can do the subject because he's a living proof of how
he has
marketed his company.
What
Yeah.
he's trying to preach.
Yeah, what he's trying to preach.
Yeah. And you have mentioned Zoho as the
Zoho is
system which
something
you
we use
use.
for projects. So we use Zoho projects to manage our project. We are completely on Google. Our website is completely on Amazon. So we have a huge bunch of technologies that help you to do this. But at a personal level, I use an app called Smarter Time.
Smarter Time.
Yeah. So Smarter Time is an app that completely records what you did during the course of the day on your phone and on your laptop and on your tablet. So you can install it, you can link all of them to the same email ID.
Yeah.
And then it will tell you exactly what you did with your phone. It will tell you how many hours you were on Facebook, how many hours you were on WhatsApp, how many hours you traveled from where you started, where you went, how many phone calls you made, everything.
Wow.
Every single day. that you can do. That, of course, has a digital, thing to it.
So it's available for all the platforms?
It's available all across platforms. It's available all across.
Called Smarter Time.
Smarter Time.
Yeah, there is another app which I use, I would like to mention here, which is Rescue Time. It is doing the same thing. But it's a different company, of course.
Correct. Parallel offering.
Yeah.
So I use that. But before Smarter Time came into
Being.
I had a practice which I followed till today. This practice is now easily 25 years old practice. And this is of maintaining a daily diary.
So it's like a journal?
I write a journal.
Wow.
So I don't write long notes to myself.
Yeah, of course.
But I write what I did with two significant aspects of my time. One is I write what I did with my time. And I write what I did with my money.
Wow.
So every day I have an account of time, kaisa barbaad kiya, kharcha kiya.
Account of time.
Account of time and account of money.
Account of money.
Because these are the two significant things in your life.
Which you can trade.
Which are important.
Yeah.
Then, if I have a certain goal, then I write that down. For example, if I have a goal of losing weight, as an example, okay, then I will write down what I ate in that diary. I say log, correct? So I have found that if you put accountability into your life, your life improves. And writing a diary has been a very time-tested manner of putting accountability.
Right.
I try to pass on all these virtues to my employees. I have a different, perception as an employer. I look upon them as my mentor and as a coach. And I think that whatever life skills are there should be passed on to them.
Yeah.
So every year we give diaries to our employees.
Wow.
And I give them a talk about why it is important to maintain a diary.
Right.
Now, some people will pick it up, some will not pick it up. That's a different thing. Okay?
Yeah.
We do a lot of such sessions. Every Wednesday is a knowledge sharing session.
Wow.
Yeah, at YouTookCanRun. For example, one of the knowledge sharing sessions which people will find interesting is how to read the Panchang.
Read the Panchang.
What does the Tithi mean?
The calendar.
Yeah, why do you call it Ganesh Chaturthi?
Yeah.
What does Tithi mean?
Yeah.
How do you define a Tithi?
Yeah.
What is the Uttarayanam, Dakshinayanam? What is Amavasya? What is Purnima? How do you read an Indian calendar? Because we all know an English calendar.
Yeah.
But how do you read an Indian calendar?
Yeah.
And what data points does it give you?
Right.
And what are they called? Is something that I, teach all my
One of the
things that I share.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Because I think that they should be good people. I mean, they may be with me, they may not be with me, but they should be good people.
Yeah, so the Freemasonry skills, the
making good men better. Yeah, correct.
So you are preaching that here as well.
Yeah, as much as I can.
Wow.
To those who can absorb it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, it must not be forced, but organically shared.
Correct, exactly.
Wow, awesome. And is there any person in your life which you can mention as a mentor who impacted your life in one way?
At different stages of life, different people have influenced me very nicely. I have had mentors. I've been extremely lucky. That I have met the right people and drawn the right lessons at every stage of my life.
Yeah.
Probably the oldest, if I want. I mean, I don't want to go into families and relative, but I'm talking outside school and outside family.
Yeah.
Was, a Commodore called Rabi Ahuja. In Sea Cadet Corps. So I was a Sea Cadet.
Okay.
Which is like NCC Scouts.
Okay.
And in 1972, I had won the regatta. A regatta is a sailing ship. So I used to do sailing and boat pulling.
Oh, wow.
And I was interviewed in the December of 1972. October 2nd, television started in our country.
Wow.
And in December, I was interviewed for a program called Yuva Vahini. Yeah, Voice of Youth. And I was interviewed and I was like famous because everybody used to watch television those days and there was only one channel. They had no choice but to listen to my interview.
What was the first channel?
Doordarshan.
Yeah,
Doordarshan was the only channel. It was in black and white. And I was interviewed. So for about...
In 72.
72. So for about 2 years, when I was a stripling kid, I was just 15 years of age. When I used to go anywhere, people, ye to TV mein
The boy who was there on
the
the
TV.
TV
mein aaya tha. So, that Rabi Ahuja
was a
strong disciplinarian. And that is what Sea Cadet taught you. And he told me one word that came up was that we don't care what you will be in your life. You may be whatever you want to be in the life. You may be a chaprasi, but you will be the world's best chaprasi.
Wow. That again comes back to the point that do anything with excellence.
Exactly. So that I can think was my earliest influencer.
Wow.
I said, whatever I do in life, I must do well.
I mean, you are doing well. You are living
you.
example of that. Wow. Amazing. And coming to another question, which might be a little silly, but anything which you bought recently under 5,000 rupees, which gave you some kind of joy or some kind of happiness?
Oh, this was a question that stumped me.
It stumps many people.
because I don't remember buying anything for 2,000 rupees in the recent memory.
Yeah.
But I can mention something that is not monetarily significant.
Yeah.
But very significant in
the happiness it gave you.
The happiness and the way of life.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is the razor blade that I buy. So I don't use plastics in my life. I have tried to avoid as much plastic as possible.
Reduce carbon footprint.
Reduce carbon footprint. So I use, and this is something that I started about 2 years back when I saw a documentary called Plastic Ocean, I think.
Plastic Ocean.
Where, plastics are inside birds and whales and, mammals and fish.
It's a
all of
crazy
them.
situation
Absolutely
right now.
crazy,
Yeah.
So I said, I cannot keep harming, we say prayers to, Bhumi Mata.
Still we are polluting
the earth.
So much.
You're desecrating the God that you worship.
Yeah.
The river that you worship. The
Such
trees
a
that you worship.
hypocritic thing.
Absolutely hypocritic. You say all your prayers, but you go and F it. So I decided, I have been not using, but about 3-4 years back, I made a conscious decision and said I will not use any disposable razor blades in my life. Okay?
Wow.
So I had a razor. I was not using it because the disposable thing is more convenient.
Yeah.
But I went back and I buy those Gillette razor blades that are, twin edged and both the sides. So anyway, so that gives me really good shaves. One blade that cost about 7 rupees lasts me about a month. And gives me a shave that is, baby bottom smooth.
Awesome. So, so one of the things that gave you joy, but not monetarily significant, but
But well under 5,000 rupees.
True, so true. That's what I was aiming for, something like that. And any book or movie or documentary coming to mind, which you would like to recommend to people, which might have changed your life in some ways?
The book that really changed my life was a book called The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill.
Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, that was a bestseller during my time. This was one of the oldest books. Along with that was a book at that time, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah. So both of them are amazing books. Yeah.
They have so much knowledge inside.
And if you just follow what they teach you to do, you cannot but be successful in life.
Yeah, true.
You just need to read it and read it again.
Yeah.
So those are the two books. The documentary that everybody must see, if you ask me one film that everybody must see, is called In Good Hands.
In Good Hands.
It's a doctor. I'll get you the correct name.
Yeah.
Ben something. This guy was African American. To use a politically correct term. Was an African American who was born in poverty. His father had left him. His mother was a mental patient, schizophrenic. He grew up in the slums of New York or wherever, I forget which city.
Yeah.
But he went on to he got a music teacher. And because music transformed him, he became a very good student, became a doctor. Ben Carson. The name now comes.
Ben Carson.
And the procedure that he did for separating Siamese twins, which is the most complex surgery in the world. My open heart surgery is nothing. It's a foo-foo. It's it's like doing a tonsils.
Yeah.
Because it's a well-documented process. Everybody does it without any problem nowadays. But, separating co-joined Siamese twins, as they are called, is the most complex surgery that is there.
When two kids are joined
joined either at the head or at the hip
or
at the backs, they can be joined wherever.
Yeah.
And very often they have only one kidney, they use the same kidney, or they use the same brain, or they use the same heart.
probably some point of joint is one.
Is one, or they use the same bladder or whatever, So, separating them, he was the guy who made that surgeries possible.
Wow.
So, fantastic story. I mean, you will get moved.
In good hands.
Yeah,
By
I'll
Ben.
get to the
Yeah, we'll
I'll
link
get to
that
the
up
correct name. I'm
shortly.
sorry, my memory is not
Yeah.
this, but that is one documentary that every child, every adult must see.
Wow, that's a great recommendation, I think.
Yeah.
And what is your next goal, or what are you looking forward to as an individual and also for YouTookCanRun?
So YouTookCanRun's mission is to promote running for good health.
Yeah.
And I am not sure how much of a dent I can make. But today, thousands of people are, leading very unhealthy lives.
Yeah.
We are the diabetes capital of the country, of the world.
Of the world. In fact, yeah.
Anybody who is over 40, every 1 out of 2 people over the age of 40 is diabetic today. Okay.
It's a serious situation.
Serious situation. Blood pressure is common.
Yeah.
Okay, BP. Cardiac, anybody over the age of 50, 1 out of 3 people will have a cardiac incident in the next 5 years.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
so
a
just imagine
critical number.
If diabetes and cardiology was a terrorist from across the border, we would be waging war. We would do surgical strikes of a different surgical nature, But nobody does it because it's part of your life, It's become common to take diabetes medicines. Oh, mere ko to sugar hai.
It's taken for granted.
It's just taken for granted. If you're above 40, you need to have medicines. Taken for granted. People are leading very unhealthy lives. We are having and it's a huge cost on the public exchequer. Huge cost.
Yeah.
Correct? The mission of running was to be healthy and comes out of my own passion of making people healthy through running, good food, exercise, being vegan, running 2-3 times a week, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So if there is a goal, if there's a passion that drives me every day in the morning to come to YouTookCanRun and do something, we want to give people joy in running, whether it be through the registration process that we do, or whether it be through the events that we conduct, or whether it be through the books that we write, or whether it be through the videos that we put out, whatever we do.
The product, anything which you are making should make people
joyful about
life.
About running. In our case, running.
Yeah.
And hopefully, they'll take up running, eat properly.
Yeah, it's a chain of habits, right?
Chain of habits, correct? Yeah. Increase the demand of exercise, reduce the supply of unhealthy food.
the balance between demand and supply.
And remove medicines from their equation.
Wow, that's awesome. So finally, before we wrap up this conversation, any advice, Venkat, you would like to give to people who are listening to this, who are trying to start their own ventures maybe?
So, unfortunately, as I mentioned some time back, these VCs and PEs have come, venture capitalists and private equity have come, and they have injected growth hormones.
Yeah, like steroids.
Like steroids.
Yeah.
Okay. So today, every single startup, I am a charter member of TIE. I am an angel investor.
You are an angel investor yourself.
I keep attending so many things.
Yeah.
Almost everybody talks the language of how to raise money, how to grow multifold, and how to exit. It looks as if the business of the startup is to raise money. They have forgotten what it is supposed to originally do.
Make the
product, sell it, be profitable.
Yeah.
And जरूरत होएगा तो पैसा लो.
Yeah. Now it has come the opposite side where they are just taking the money, raising it, and then exiting the business. Right?
Absolutely hopeless.
Yeah.
60 to 70% of startups fail. And they fail because they get too much money too soon.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to use it.
True.
Correct? Youngsters out of IIT and this and that who write code are getting insane amount of money from people who don't know any better.
Yeah.
They don't have the grey hair, they don't have the maturity, they don't have the wisdom of how to handle it.
Yeah.
You have all these Me Too hashtags coming out of such startups.
Yeah.
Okay, because of the culture that is there.
Yeah.
There are no ethics within that organization.
Yeah, I think in the past 2 decades, probably the cultural shift in India, like the corporates earlier, how they were working.
Correct.
Now the startup culture which has come, the culture has completely shifted to the modern thinking. But that comes with its own pain points.
It has come with a Western materialistic approach
Yeah.
to money and to startup and to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And there is a deep cultural conflict that Indian entrepreneurs do not recognize
Yeah.
when they get into this, startup ecosystem.
Yeah.
So let me, put this in this way. There are 3 rules that we follow. First is we see whether, the first rule is whether we see whether it is good for relationship.
Good for relationship.
Whether the relationship will get damaged. Second is we see whether it is good for business. इसमें पैसा बनेगा क्या? Does it make sense on both sides?
Economically, yeah.
Economically.
Yeah.
The third is we see whether it follows the rule of the law.
Yeah. It's ethical and lawful.
Ethical and lawful, correct? These are 3 rules, correct? The Americans, what we see in YouTookCanRun, we maintain relationships. It doesn't matter if I don't make money.
Yeah.
Clients are gone away from me, I maintain the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Because the relationship is the most important thing. If the relationship is there, you will get the business.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to earn a decent amount of money if you give good services.
Yeah.
Correct? The last thing is the NDA or the agreement that you signed, or the shareholders agreement that you signed.
Yeah.
Nobody cares
Nobody cares.
what is written in that paper.
Yeah. Nobody
Ultimately,
reads.
Nobody reads that. Nobody should read it after you sign it. Correct? This is the Indian philosophy.
Yeah.
This is the Eastern philosophy. The Western philosophy is exactly ulta. पहला मिलेगा तो NDA रखेगा कागज, बोलेगा साइन करो.
Right.
The legal structure of the relationship takes precedence. Prenuptial agreements, for example.
Yeah.
What is the legal structure of the relationship?
Yeah.
Takes importance first. First you talk that. Then you see whether you will make money in it. And the last that comes is the relationship.
So it's almost opposite.
Absolutely opposite.
Human connection is the
So
last.
we are the last.
And the least.
And the least.
Wow.
Don't fall for these Western thoughts. Maintain relationship with the market, maintain relationship with your people.
Start with a good product.
Surveys. People will give you money.
Wow. That's a great advice.
Yeah, people will give you money. People will say, "Nahi yaar, the universe will conspire to keep you happy."
Yeah.
And then yes, take money. I mean, we borrowed from banks
Yeah.
when we built up those BPOs. Okay,
Yeah.
we borrowed from banks. That time there was no VC.
You have to get money.
Today, YouTookCanRun may take money from investors,
Yeah.
but in a limited amount,
Yeah.
not in a huge amount,
Yeah.
and take just enough.
To maintain the values first
So that
of all.
you don't end up buying Apple MacBooks for everybody. Everybody's still on the Dell computer.
Dell computers. Wow. It was great talking to you, Venkat. Where can people reach you?
People can reach me YouTookCanRun.com, which has a contact.
Yeah.
Email ID is p.venkatraman@YouTookCanRun.com. On Facebook, we are there at YouTookCanRun.com.
Everywhere YouTookCanRun.
Yeah, Twitter is there. Facebook is there. LinkedIn is there.
Yeah.
So we are there everywhere. If you search YouTookCanRun,
Awesome.
you can.
Yeah. I'll put all the links in the show notes as well.
Correct.
Alright, so all the good stuff and all these links will be there in the show notes, and I'll share all that stuff along with the podcast episode in the blog post. Thanks, Venkat, for sharing your time and all these amazing stories and the knowledge from your rich experience of life. And I really thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much. Himanshu, thank you. It's been my pleasure to have this conversation with you. And I just hope that, the listeners draw lessons. And if somebody somewhere at some point of time comes to me in the future and says that, because of that podcast, it changed my life, that is, gratitude enough.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Himanshu again. Now, before you move on, here's something I want to share with you. I have one weekly newsletter which is called Saturday Pentacle. You can think of it as a weekly one-page magazine for the curious minds, where you'll find 5 awesome things which I've been pondering on in the last week. It may contain popular articles, blogs, photographs, Instagram posts, books, videos, products, or thoughts. It's completely free. If you want to get it, just go to himanshusachdeva.com. That's my name, himanshusachdeva.com, and drop in your email. You'll get the very next one. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening.